Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Okay, so we have the Nine of Wands. And the Nine of Wands shows up when I call it we created a bit of a monster card. We're not quite to the Ten of Wands where we have to delegate responsibility, but we've been through a bit of a battle, perhaps getting the idea that we're so passionate about off the ground, and we're at the nine. We've spent so much time at this point fighting and working and um, thinking about and just doing so much work to get to where we are that it's become a bit of a burden. Perhaps is the way to put it. We're just beat down. We're not sure we can go. We feel like we can't go on. However, we know we've come this far. We have to keep pushing through. It's worth that final last push. I'm not a marathon runner, but would have to think it would be like when you hit, I don't know, the 20-mile mark or something. It's like, okay, it's like we have to do these last 6 miles or however long a marathon is. I can't remember. Um, you just have to push through. So this week we may feel like we just can't do any more and on in some part of our life. One thing I want to be careful is that when I read the tarot, I tend to think, oh my God, I feel like I always think these are, huge, giant issues, but this is probably just one part of your life that, you're feeling that maybe you just want to maybe give up. I can give you a personal example. I don't do this to talk about myself, but just to give you an example, I am in school right now and I have one more class. I have this class this semester and then one more class. And I'm just like, I'm sort of not into it anymore. And I would love to give up, but I absolutely will not and would never do that. But I certainly think about it like, oh, and the class I left for the last is going to be very demanding. And so I just have to get my resolve and just, push through this last class and get it done. So that's the type of situation that this nine is talking about. So let's check out the other card, the next card. Oh, so the Page of Pentacles. So the first thing that came to my mind is this is going to be the reward for pushing through the Nine of Wands energy, is this Page of Pentacles offering us this pentacle. So this is message of material things, spiritual things, health, jobs, home. This is why we're doing what we're doing in the Nine of Wands and why we have to push through, because it's going to help us continue to build that foundation that we build through the Pentacle cards. And I believe something's going to come along this week that's going to remind us why we start. Because sometimes you're so passionate at the beginning when you start, you get near the end and you're not maybe seeing the results you thought you were going to see. And you're certainly not seeing them as fast as you thought you were going to see them. And you're like, why the hell am I even doing this? What was I thinking? And so I think the Page of Pentacles energy is going to come along and remind us that that's why we're doing that. That's why there was a reason, and I just needed to be reminded of it. Perhaps you'll hear about a job that you're going to school for, or if you've been maybe in a diet or exercise regimen, maybe you'll really start seeing the results. Maybe you go to the doctor and your blood work will come back much better. That scale at the doctor's always seems to be 10 pounds heavier than the one at home. I don't understand it. Well, maybe that one will actually reflect the weight that you see that you've lost at home. So we're going to receive some sort of message or some sort of new beginning, I believe, that's going to come out of all of our hard work, that's going to make us realize it hasn't been in vain. So let's look at the last card, the King of Swords. So the King of Swords is very analytical and very cerebral. And I like the Anna K Tarot has him playing chess, and I think that's a great, very in his head, always looking for the next move, always thinking. You know, he could be the typical is the lawyer. He could even be a therapist, but he wouldn't be the kind of therapist that's super touchy-feely, hold your hand. That would be like the King of Cups as a therapist. The King of Swords as a therapist would really make you deal with your issues and cut right to the heart of the matter. And it just, some people will respond to that and others won't. And at certain times in your life, people will respond to it, and other times in your life, you may not. So I think if you are feeling at all confused with the Nine of Wands about what you're doing and you've lost your passion for a moment, maybe you've come this far and you're kind of like, yeah, you just lost your spark. I think at this point you've lost your spark. The King of Swords will certainly help you figure out and very clearly explain, why you were doing that. So hopefully your passionate pursuit was not just based on passion and no logic underneath. And I don't think so, because the Wands is another practical card, unlike the Swords. The Cups, that's emotional. Yes, the Wands have passion, but Wands also are work and action, so that you're usually doing something practical. But you may need to call up your King of Swords to help get things down in writing, and that may help you to finish that final plan and that final push forward. You may need a little help. That tends to be a little more Ten of Wands, but you may need a little bit of help from someone who's going to be very straightforward with you, to help you with the project, or whatever passionate pursuit that you're working on. Or maybe you've gotten to a point where you do need a lawyer, not in a lawyer way as in someone suing you, but in a way that maybe you need to create a business, an LLC or something, and you need someone that can help you, what's the word I want to say, formalize what you've been doing. And that comes well with the page energy as well. The final push is to really complete what you started and make it official. So I really like this reading, actually. I think it shows, I would say, reflect back and look at all that you have done. And as weary as you might be about, am I ever going to see the results I wanted to see? I really think they're actually quite good, and they're right there. And you just need a little bit of that last push for those last few miles. And you're going to see some pretty great beginnings of the pursuit that you had started in the Nine of Wands. I think the final end product is going to be realized just when you feel like it was all in vain. So thank you very much for watching. I would just remind you again about the free reading giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and comment that you actually want to be considered or in the drawing, and I'll somehow randomly have my 9-year-old give me a number or something and figure out who the winner is. Thanks for watching. Bye.